This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Welcome to OS on the BBC World Service with me, Mark Lowen, live from our London newsroom. From Liberation Day to Retreat Day within a week. Or was it rather Capitulation Day, surrendering to plummeting markets and soaring government borrowing costs that forced Donald Trump to pause his big, beautiful tariffs, which he vowed he wouldn't give ground on. The White House spin was that it was his plan all along to push countries to negotiate with him, a brilliant tactic straight out of Mr. Trump's bestseller, The Art of the Deal. But while global economies and markets have breathed a huge and soaring sigh of relief, the president is not giving ground on China, raising tariffs to an eye-watering 125%. What do the Chinese make of it? We'll hear from some on today's programme, and also from Washington on how this is all playing into the Trump stock, and on suspicions that insider trading might have profited from the Trump tariff U-turn. First, the news.
Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. Stock markets across Europe and Asia have surged in response to Donald Trump's decision to suspend many tariffs on countries other than China. But the main indices on Wall Street have opened down, reflecting continued uncertainty after huge gains on Wednesday. In Brussels, the European Union has paused its planned retaliation against US tariffs. A spokesman for the European Commission, Olaf Gill, said the EU was ready to talk.
We are not going to offer any greater detail at this point about what we are saying to the Americans beyond what we have already said. We want to negotiate. We appreciate that you have brought this pause on so-called reciprocal tariffs, and we in turn are now pausing our proposed countermeasures.
China has insisted it won't give in to pressure from President Trump over tariffs, but says it is willing to negotiate. The US has imposed tariffs totaling 125% on Chinese goods. China has responded by putting an 84% duty on American products. Our Washington correspondent, Bent de Boosman, has been following developments.
President Trump is insisting that he believes that these tariffs will force China to come to the negotiating table. We don't know, however, if they don't, and so far it doesn't seem like they will, what happens next in terms of additional tariffs from the U.S. and additional retaliatory tariffs from China. But negotiations with countries such as the UK, EU, some Asian countries that have expressed a willingness to negotiate, that'll almost certainly take up a lot of the White House's bandwidth over the next 90 days.
The US and Russia have carried out another prisoner swap. President Putin has pardoned and freed Ksenia Karelina, a US-Russian dancer who was jailed in Moscow last year. In return, the US has released Artur Petrov, a dual German-Russian. It's the latest move by each side to improve US-Russian relations. Our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, reports from Moscow.
From a runway in Abu Dhabi, the FSB, Russia's domestic security service, released shaky video footage of a prisoner swap. The Russians had freed Ksenia Karelina, a US-Russian dual national jailed in Russia for treason. Her crime, that she had donated the equivalent of £40 to a US-based charity in support of Ukraine. In exchange for her release, America freed Artur Petrov. He'd been accused of conspiring to smuggle sensitive US microelectronics into Russia.
Emergency teams in the Dominican Republic are continuing to pull bodies from the rubble of a nightclub more than 48 hours after the roof caved in during a concert. A spokesman said the number confirmed dead was now 218. Officials believe there are no more survivors of the disaster. BBC News.